Good evening. It's Thursday, January 27th. I'm going to demonstrate something that is not in my normal work mode. I've got, let's see if I can show you, a big old lump of clay on the wheelhead. And I've done demos before of throwing off the hump. This is what this is called. But generally, they've been smaller amounts of clay, and with the intent of making smaller pots. Particularly, I like throwing off the hump for a sake bottle, because you do the 3 cups, not 4, 3 cups, and then the remaining clay gets used to make the bottle. In this case, though, as if you've been following at home, I've been making bowls for the Super Bowl fundraiser, and those are all made, but the second bisque firing, okay, I'm going to do 2 firings between now and this time next week. 4 firings? Anyway, 4 firings. The kiln's not going to be full. So, what I am hoping to do tonight is throw, miscellaneous stuff just to fill the kiln. I've got 1 bisque fire going now, and then I'll do a glaze firing Saturday morning and a bisque firing Sunday night, and a glaze firing Tuesday or Wednesday. So, anyway, for those who actually do this throwing off the hump thing normally, it's more or less just to speed things up. Rather than going through the whole sequence of centering each ball of clay, or worse, having to measure each ball of clay and then center it, and so forth and so on. You skip right past it, and you're only centering what you need out of the top of the big lump. And you zip zap zoom. Clearly, as I said, I don't do this often enough to zip zap zoom. But my hope is that I can use this remaining Cone 6 porcelain, at least in a way that's interesting. And who knows? If it doesn't work, it's just clay. Which is actually sort of hints at an ongoing conversation I've had with the Brockers at Brockers Good with Clays. They one of their favorite mottos is "Clay ain't dirt," and of course, what they're trying to convey is that it's worthy of respect. Whereas what I'm trying to say when I say it's just dirt is that as a maker, the price of mistakes or failure or whatever is relatively low. Particularly since clay is so readily recycled. Okay, in this case, some people use a wire. I use a needle, and I'll raise up under to where the center of that floor hopefully is. Now, the one thing about these is that they do involve more trimming. If I throw right on the wheelhead, I can be so efficient about the bottom of the pot that there's almost no clay to remove. That's much more difficult to do when you're throwing off the hump. In part because, you you want to make allowances so that you don't cut into the pot you've just thrown. Okay. Now I think I have the vague sense or the vague hope that these will turn out to be coffee cups. But they may end up just being sort of experimental tea bowl forms. Although tea bowls as a shape aren't all that popular in this part of the Midwest. I don't think enough, at least not enough of my customers understand how you would use them in real, in everyday life. So whenever I've made some, including some, what I thought were really nice ones, they've more or less been ignored on the shelves. I've had to give them away to friends and whatnot, which is, good for the friends. Anyway, the big thing when you're throwing off the hump, at least in my experience, and maybe my actions belie it, is to not fuss too much. Part of the fun is that everything's just a little wobblier. And potentially that means you've got looser pots that have a more jovial personality, shall I say? Okay, so another way to do this, I'll demonstrate it just because, it's not the way I tend to do it, but is with the wire. Didn't get through. There we go. Anyway, potential coffee cup. Thank you. Have a good evening.